Hello Humans and welcome to this video. Today I want to talk about Centurion 5.1 because this is quite an interesting and also quite a weird tank, because on one side it's really good, on the other side it's kind of there. So the point with this tank is it has very strong armor on the turret, especially gun mantle is pretty much impenetrable. Also these boxes don't have a hitbox, so don't worry about them. You do have a cupola, but obviously if you're using this tank hull down, you won't have to bother with the cupola because it's small enough to be able to hide. And obviously if you're not hull down, if you're on flat ground, you have bigger problems to worry about, and that is the hull. Well, the front is decent. It's obviously not good enough for tier 8 premium rounds, and the lower plate is always a weak spot. So there is that. Now 2300 DPM, 226mm of penetration, that's really good and very fair. However, it only has 190 alpha damage, which is pretty much the lowest of all the tier 8 mediums once they're fully upgraded, which ain't that great. Aiming time actually is very good. You have 10 degrees of gun depression, which is very nice, and the mobility for a fat tank as it is quite good, even though it's probably around the same mobility as the T95 E6, because both have the same average speed, but this thing's still faster. So I'd say let's get into a battle. Let's see. If this tank, there's only about 1,000 remaining, it's currently at about 7,000 gold, so let's see if that's worth getting. So now let's get into the battle, and unfortunately it doesn't load very fast. It's only in Blitz that it loads this slowly, so I really don't know why that is, but fix your game, Wargaming. Now, let's see. Obviously my PC ain't the greatest, but if it loads Forza faster than it loads Blitz, I think it might not be the PC. Now, the thing is, with this tank, it is very good if you can play it very well. It can also be quite decent if you can't play it very well, but then it's still not the greatest. Now, obviously the Chimera is a better tank, that's no question about that. However, well, I think 7k, 6.5k, something like that, this tank can certainly be considered because it is one of the better tier 8 medium tanks, because it has very good penetration, because you don't have to fire premium rounds that much, because obviously if you buy a Type 59 or something like that, you have to fire premium ammo the entire time, or most of the time, and that obviously doesn't really do well for you earning any credits, and that's what a premium tank is supposed to be for, right? Now, and that's something this tank can do quite well. Now, obviously, the downside of only having 190 alpha damage is that you have to peek a lot of times, which is obviously not ideal, because the more you peek, the more you will be shot. However, if you play it in a position like this, or like he is doing it as well, then you can just hull down, you can get more shots than your enemy, and then you can get rid of that disadvantage pretty much. Obviously he's going to try to push me here, in a way. I'm going to have to, yeah, back out of here, because there's a smasher as well, and there is no support from the team, unfortunately, to do that. And obviously there's a smasher as well, which really that great. Okay. And the VK as well. Now, I have to back off here. Try to maybe get a shot on the VK. Nope, didn't quite work out. And now I have to retreat and retreat, retreat, because the team has taken a very passive position here, and it's not really very nice. Yeah. Haven't really done anything so far. Only 1.2k, which is, well, nothing. But let's see. The Chimera's still back there, which is not ideal, obviously. But let's see if we can now get some side shots into the VK here without the Centurion peeking me, and that worked out quite nicely. Very cool. That's basically how you have to play this tank, from the side, and because obviously you can't trade with anyone, so you're gonna have to try to outsmart the people. And there we go. He can't pin the turret, I can't pin his, but it would be a lot more useful if I could pen his, because if he can pen mine, I am dead. But now let's try and go around here. Hope that is enough for distraction. Nope, Smasher is very curious and very not good at aiming. But obviously he's going to continue, and we're going to have to try to make it work here. And obviously the Grave Digger is going to die. That is very unfortunate. And both of them are one-shots now, which is also very unfortunate. He still can't aim. Grave Digger is mad for some reason. And they're all dead. Yeah, the 53 TP. Obviously, in a situation like that, the Centurion is absolutely insanely good. And because you have a very high rate of fire, so you can finish off tanks like that very, very easily. However, the downside, obviously, is that you can't finish off a lot of tanks very easily, and he still misses! Mate! You're a smasher. Obviously, I should have not ever done 2000 damage here, but I am still doing it anyway. I'm gonna just have to watch out for the Centurion to appear. Yeah, there's not much I can do, because if I shoot the Centurion, the Smash is gonna shoot me. If I shoot the Smash, the Centurion is gonna shoot me, so... That's the point of a 1vx situation. In a 1vx situation, you always want to have 1v1s. If the enemy doesn't allow you to have 1v1s, then it's gonna be pretty much impossible to win that situation. But, as you can see, it's still a very decent game, and obviously, as you can also see, the enemy 5-1 is a very decent player, so obviously he knows he has to close the distance while I'm busy with the Smasher.
Time to roll out!
So let's go into the second battle, and now, obviously, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather the Centurion in the room, and that is it actually worth buying this tank in the auction? Because that's where it's available right now. It depends whether you like medium tanks, and it also depends whether you can cope with the low alpha damage. Because if you like mediums, and if you're fine with the low alpha, outside of that is quite a good tank. Now, obviously, one thing that has to be noted, the Pershing has more premium penetration than this tank. Also have more DPM, and also has more alpha damage. Something to consider. But, anyway, this Pershing you can get free, this thing you have to spend gold on, and you can make decent creds with this thing. Obviously, as you just saw in the last battle results, if you are paying attention to the video. And if you are, then thank you very much for watching, and also don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to. Now, E75 TS, the tomato and salad tank, can be quite hard to pen. That thing is... The only thing that really holds back the E75 TS is that it's very bland. It's good, but it's bland. Now, it's a good tank to play, but not a very fun tank to play. This thing can be fun, can also be frustrating, because obviously, if you get traded for 400 damage, while you would do 190, that can be certainly very frustrating. But obviously, if you get into a situation where you can just out-trade them, you know, because you're better, you can just peek them. Not like that, though. I'm gonna go down here for the E75. Or that shit, if he's... Alright, I'll take that. Now, obviously, for a player like me, this tank is certainly worth it for 6k. But if you like super heavies, or if you like tank destroyers, then there's obviously no point in buying this tank whatsoever. However, if you like mediums, if you have the Centurion 1, if you like the Centurion 1, then there's absolutely nothing stopping you from getting this tank because at that point. It is certainly a tank that can be considered. The only thing I have to consider now is that I don't actually have a team. But then again, it is still around the holidays, so skill is optional these days, apparently. But let's see. I'm gonna keep doing as much damage as I can here. I'll try to. Obviously, the MX is gonna kill me now, but maybe I can get one more shot here. No, I can't. But now you're gonna see, obviously, if you always have great games, then that kind of ruins the display a bit. But let's see how much credits we can get for a mediocre game like this one. So there we go, 2,000 damage, but it's still 57,000 credits on a loss. So, as you can see, if you're doing about 2k average in this thing, you're gonna make a couple of credits, which is very nice. So, if you like mediums, then certainly I can only recommend it at that point. But yeah, thanks for watching. See you for the next one. Goodbye.